Good evening, Brian. It's Monday. So in my last vlog on Thursday, I talked about some of the benefits that I have found with getting up early. And you, in your video after that on Friday, talked about being up late. And so that got me thinking. And so I think today I kind of am going to talk about being up late. And that's not necessarily going to be like a top 5 kind of thing, just some neat things that are sort of from the counter perspective of being up early. It strikes me often when I'm driving home, especially on days where I have had to stay at work late, sort of like tonight, but sometimes even later, where I'm coming home and it's 8 or 9 o'clock and it's dark and it's sort of way after everyone else is usually done coming home from work, and there's not many people out and about, and there's just something about it that's really nice. It's similar to the way that I feel about being up early in the morning and being out and about how it's very calm and serene and there's no one else, there's fewer people around, and so you just feel more alone and isolated. But even though it's similar at night when you're out and about so late and alone, it's somehow different, and you just feel, I don't know how to put words to it. It just feels very isolated, and it's just you. There's no one else around, there's no distractions, there's no, all the things that have been possibly bugging you all day just sort of seem less important. And so I really actually like driving at night. So sometimes driving home at night when it's dark out, I have like a 45-minute commute home from work, so sometimes that's really nice. Just driving and being out in the quiet of the world when everyone else is going to bed or is in for the night is neat. And sometimes, I definitely remember having nights at home or here where you sort of end up staying up late for whatever reason. Maybe you just had coffee too late in the day, or you don't have anything else to do in the morning, and so you don't really have any reason to specifically go to bed. But I remember there being times where I was up much later than usual, and how that kind of has its own neat feeling to it, of being up really, really late. It feels a little bit taboo and forbidden, and you feel like all of the time that you have is just extra time. And so, you feel like, oh wow, well I, got to do so much more stuff, or somehow things that if you did them during the normal day, you would feel like they were a waste of time, feel much more acceptable because it's extra time anyways. And there's just something neat about that as well. There's a podcast, of course, it wouldn't be a Matt vlog without mentioning a podcast, called Nocturne, which is pretty good. I don't love every episode necessarily. It's not one of my top 10 favorite podcasts, but the main purpose of the show is about that feeling of nighttime and things that happen at night that you don't think about, and it's got sort of that creepy, eerie vibe. And sometimes, some of the topics are pretty mundane, but it's very quiet. There's like nighttime environmental sounds that play in the intro for the podcast, and it's I think it does a good job of listening to that show. Gives you the same feeling sometimes of being out and about late at night, and that's one thing I really like about it. Sometimes being up late is definitely a drag, especially if you're already tired or you have to do things in the morning, but sometimes it has its own benefits as well. And there's something uniquely, alluring or charming about being up way later than you usually are, when it feels like you should be gone to bed and the rest of the world has gone to bed as well. So that's pretty neat. So what do you think about being up late, Brian? Do you just see it as sort of oh, well, I'm up late and that's cool, I'll play video games, or do you sort of savor the specific feeling of nighttime and of lateness and all of that, sort of the way that I've mentioned in this vlog? Does you notice all those same kinds of feelings? Maybe you can put them in better words than I have been able to, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing your video tomorrow.